All right, men, question. Are you being strengthened and sharpened by other men? And if you're not, what can you do about it today? All right, so this is Live Intentionally with John and Sandy. I'm John, and I want to talk a little bit about the men directly today because a lot of times in men, especially in Western culture, we think of ourselves as having to do everything ourselves, right? And look, I know I've struggled from it. It's something that I had to, I can go into the whole background, which I'm not, but just I grew up and was basically taught you got to take care of yourself. And so as a man, I continued forward with that, right? The only one who's going to be able to take care of me is me. But I want you to think about something because when you think about a piece of twine, right, and you've heard this before, right? If you've got one cord, like twine, it's easily broken, right? I mean, it's not, it kind of holds some things together, but that's about it, right? But you start twisting two strands or three strands together, and you get something much stronger. You build more rope with those strands together and then put those strands together, you get something incredibly strong, right? Same thing. I mean, if you take wire, you take just regular picture hanging wire and you start twisting it, you'll have something incredibly strong that you could toast something with at some point if you wind enough together. And as men, there's a value, there's a impact that comes into our lives when we integrate with other men, when we do this work with other men. The problem that we do have today is a lot of men isolate and withdraw. And, part of this happens because when we get into something that is negative in our masculine, our masculine wants that to end, right? We want that to come to an end. We want that to stop, right? So if and this is part of what leads to our fixing behavior, right? If something's broken, we want to fix it. We want to stop it. It's not working right. We want to go fix it. This is part of what drives us as men to just constantly fix things. Because if something is not right or it's painful or negative in our mind, we're going to look, how do we make this stop? How do we make it not be a negative anymore? But a lot of times what happens as men is we wind up going to a different path, right? So we go further into withdrawal. That may look like isolation. And isolation's not just meaning, I hole up in a cabin in the woods and I tell everyone in the world to leave me alone. It might mean being isolated with other people, right? You're in the neighborhood block party and you're just going to keep talking about sports. You're going to keep talking about work. You're going to keep talking about what's comfortable to you rather than getting deeper and having someone that you can actually get into deep conversations about what's really going on in your life, right? It leads to addictions. A lot of times as men especially, right, this is a route that we go down and we look into, right, porn, computer games, drugs, alcohol, because we want to numb it out. We want it to end. We can't make it stop. So how are we going to go into something else and numb this out? We may focus on what's working in terms of work, right? So we go beyond, there's a phase where we are just building our kingdom as princes. That's a stage that men go through. That's a very normal reaction. But if we take it to the extreme because, hey, work is the only thing that's paying off for me and I'm just going to bury myself into work, completely different story, right? And then finally, sometimes it leads to imposter syndrome. We wind up feeling as men that we don't belong. Right, and that's part of what may lead to this isolation or with this withdrawal or this focus on somewhere else, because we start to feel like, you know what, I'm not really being real here. I'm not really in the same league maybe as these other men because my marriage is struggling, or I'm struggling raising my kids, or there's something that's really bothering me about my health and I can't seem to lose the weight that I want to lose. Right, so a lot of times as men we take these issues and we just bury them, and that leads to us feeling like imposters when we're with other men. And look, this is also, right, we were raised, for generation of men my age, right, we were raised on Rambo, we were raised on Die Hard, right, we were raised on the hero does things alone. But I'm going to challenge all the men listening today, I'm going to challenge you to consider a different way. And, it's something that's fascinating. Sandy does such beautiful work with women through her sisterhood program, through her coaching program. She does absolutely beautiful work with women. And one of the things as I've learned more about what she does and learn more about women and how they integrate is women see community completely different than men do. Right? With men, we're always eyeing up other men as potential competitors. It's just who we are. It's part of our nature that we're going to see them that way. And women may see it, but they really have a much deeper sense of community, right? And they are painfully aware if they're isolated. And I think as men, we can sometimes suppress that a lot, right? We don't pay attention to that. And women feel connected with all other women. It's something they have this sisterhood, and not just the sisterhood that Sandy has, which is an incredible program, but this sisterhood of all women. And that community that they build, and they'll talk. And men, if you haven't heard women get together and talk and paid attention to it, they will talk about anything and everything that as men we're like, holy crap, I can't believe you went there. But they will do that, right? And that's that sense of connectedness and that sense of community that they have. And, finally, look, the feminine energy, the feminine in all of us is what seeks connection. But a lot of times as men, we don't really recognize that part of ourselves. We don't really nourish it. Look, I'm not talking about, that is going to change our outward masculine, who we are, and our desire and our drive. But there is a part of us that needs that connection and needs that nourishment. So, look, if any of this, right, resonated with you, man, if any of this resonated with you and you start thinking, hey, these are some things, it stirred something up. Maybe it even pissed you off. Maybe you're like, John, you're really pissing me off talking about this right now. I don't need anybody. I've got it all covered. But I would challenge you. I'm going to challenge all the men out listening right there to really be ruthless in your examination of your connections, of your self-inspection. Are you really going as deep as you can? Are you really being pushing as hard as you have? Are you really accomplishing as much as you can in your life, in your work, with your family, in your relationships, in your intimate relationships, in your romantic relationship, in your health? Are you really going as deep as you know you can? Or is there something nagging at you that says, I'm more than this. I've got more than this. This is not me. I've got more capable. I've got more that's behind me. And if that's stirring up something, then look, I want you, first off, we've got Men Ignited program, Monday nights at 6:55. It is open to everybody. It is, there's no charge at all. This is not a sales call. This is literally just a group of men, a group of incredible men that get together and sharpen each other. Monday, 6:55, there's a link in the post. You can click on that. Join us tonight. Join us any Monday. Come in. And it's a fantastic program. And that's option number one that you got. And I highly recommend that to every man that's out there listening. The second thing is that I have a coaching program, a group coaching program that's going to be spinning up in September. And I would love to have, it's a very select group. I only let a limited number of men into that program. But if you're interested in learning more about that and learning what steps you can take today, there's a link, quick.callwithjohnhall.com. You click on that link. Let's get 15 minutes. Let's talk about what's going on. I have a few slots open this week and next week, and already having discussions with some incredible men that are interested in this and pursuing this. And look, I'm challenging all the men out there today. What are you doing to deepen your connections? What are you doing to honor this aspect of yourself and use it in a way to not just strengthen and sharpen yourself, but what's the value that you can provide to other men as well? And I'll tell you, I promise you, it'll make a difference in your life. All right, that's it for today. Take care. See you.